Down 16 points at home in the first quarter, the Phoenix Mercury looked absolutely unstoppable, dominating the paint, draining shots, running an early double-digit lead that had the entire crowd restless. The scoreboard was brutal. But then Caitlin Clark stood up at that bench, clapped her hands together, and refused to let this game slip away into defeat. What happened next was pure basketball chaos. 5 technical fouls called, an elbow that had the entire arena holding its breath, a controversial call that sparked absolute fury on the sideline, and one of the most dramatic, fiery, emotional comebacks you'll see all season. This wasn't just a game, this was a street fight. Coming into this June 22nd matchup, the Indiana Fever had serious momentum building. Recent wins over Connecticut, Toronto, and Chicago had the team rolling hard. Caitlin Clark was cooking, her playmaking sharp, her shooting on point. But Phoenix didn't come to Indianapolis to fold. The Mercury arrived locked and loaded. Collie Copper, one of the WNBA's most dangerous guards, was their primary headliner. She's the kind of player who can take over games without warning. wnba, a 14-year veteran who's seen every trick in the book, was ready to do whatever it took to slow down Indiana's offense. Alyssa Thomas was a bulldozer in the paint, a force that would make life absolutely miserable for Indiana's frontcourt. The stage was set for a classic matchup. What nobody predicted was just how wild and how physical this entire game would become.
Before going further, if you're enjoying this video, don't forget to smash that subscribe button. It really helps us keep bringing you the content you love. Share this video with your friends so they don't miss out on all the drama and excitement.
Phoenix came out with pure violence from the opening tip. Collie Copper was an absolute menace, attacking the paint on every possession. Alyssa Thomas was bodying everyone in sight, winning every 50-50 ball, finishing with authority around the rim. The Mercury ran out to an early double-digit lead, and it kept growing. By the time the first quarter clock ticked down, the scoreboard read Indiana 6, Phoenix 19, down 13 at home, in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Here's what makes this brutal. Phoenix went on a 19-3 run to start the game. 19 points while Indiana scored just 3 and 19. That gap looked absolutely insurmountable, but look at the Fever bench. Look at number 22. Caitlin Clark wasn't panicking. She wasn't staring at the scoreboard with her head down. She was clapping her hands, pulling her teammates together, communicating, preparing for what came next. That's what franchise players do. Quarter 2 belonged entirely to one person. Caitlin Clark went into superstar mode and single-handedly pulled the Fever back into this game. Indiana outscored Phoenix 35-22 in those 10 minutes. 35-22. That's the kind of quarter that flips everything. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was doing everything. The three-pointers came from logo range, disrespect, distance. Every time Phoenix sagged off thinking they could dare her shoot, splash. Every time a defender was a half step late on a closeout, splash. 3 triples across the game, and everyone felt like a dagger to Phoenix's soul. But the layups deserve their own highlight reel. Her 2-point shooting hit 71.4% efficiency. She was finishing through contact, finding impossible angles. The dimes came next, 9 assists, only 3 turnovers, a 3-to-1 ratio. She was orchestrating everything. Kelsey Mitchell caught fire, feeding off Clark's energy. Monique Billings was crashing the glass and finishing with authority. Indiana was suddenly playing Fever basketball, fast, connected, purposeful. By halftime, they'd gone from down 13 to leading by a handful. The entire momentum had shifted. What happened next had the internet losing its mind. wnba, frustrated as Indiana's comeback took shape, had been getting increasingly tense. Veterans don't like when momentum shifts. They don't like when the crowd turns on them. Then it happened. The stomp, the elbow. Bonner went over Caitlin Clark and didn't just fall, she stomped. Contact with her foot, deliberate or not, it was physical and ugly. Then the elbow came, a shot that caught Clark and sent a shockwave through the arena. The crowd gasped, everyone looked at the refs. And then came the most baffling whistle of the season. They called the foul on Caitlin Clark. The Fever bench erupted. The crowd erupted. Then Sophie Cunningham came off that bench like she was going to war, nose to nose with Bonner. Finger pointed, eyes locked, don't touch my teammate. This was loyalty. This was the code. Sophie wore the technical foul like a badge of honor. And then the Gainbridge Fieldhouse crowd unleashed. 17,000 Fever fans stood up. wnba stepped to the free throw line and got booed with pure, sustained, unrelenting fury. The noise was deafening. And then Bonner missed the free throw. Justice in the only form they could provide it. This is why home court matters. This is why Gainbridge Fieldhouse is one of the most electric arenas in women's basketball. If Phoenix had any hope of stopping Indiana's momentum after that second quarter and that incident, the third quarter destroyed it completely. Indiana 30, Phoenix 11. The Fever absolutely suffocated Phoenix on defense while making shot after shot on offense. Every Phoenix possession became a nightmare. The Mercury went ice cold offensively. 11 points for an entire.
Caitlin Clark single-handedly took over this game and pulled the Fever back into this game.
Entire quarter. Monique Billings was unstoppable in this stretch. She finished with 14 points and 10 rebounds on a perfect 4 for 4 from the field. Her 6 offensive rebounds created extra chances that kept Phoenix's defense scrambling. She posted a plus 15 rating, the best on the team. Kelsey Mitchell was doing her thing, slippery and explosive. She dropped 22 points going 8 for 20 with 3 triples. She and Clark worked beautifully in pick and roll situations. The lead kept ballooning. Phoenix's biggest lead had been 16 in the first quarter. Indiana's reached 21. Everything had flipped upside down. The final score was Indiana 86, Phoenix 77. Caitlin Clark led the way with a complete star performance. She finished with 24 points, 9 assists, 3 rebounds, shooting nearly 47% from the field. She added 3 three-pointers and made 5 of 6 free throws with a team best plus 13 rating. And she did it while Indiana was down 16 points at one moment. That's exactly what franchise players do. Kelsey Mitchell was the perfect second option, scoring 22 points with 3 shots from beyond the arc. Monique Billings was the difference maker with that double-double, 14 points and 10 rebounds on perfect shooting. As a team, Indiana dominated the second quarter 35-22 and exploded in the third 30-11. They controlled the glass with 12 offensive rebounds, scored 19 points off turnovers, and never stopped fighting. Phoenix had a 16-point lead early, then Indiana built a 21-point lead later. That's a 37-point swing that completely changed the entire outcome. This was more than just a win. This was a statement about who they are when it matters most. Down 16, Caitlin Clark decided the game wasn't over. Sophie Cunningham went to war without hesitation. Gainbridge Fieldhouse became a cauldron of basketball intensity and passion. The crowd booed so loud a player missed a free throw. And Indiana walked away with an 86-77 victory that nobody who watched it will forget. This Fever team is real. They're tough. They don't quit. They're coming for everything. Subscribe right now for more breakdowns like this. Every play, every drama, every moment that matters, hit that bell. You don't want to miss what's coming next with this team.